What has changed for Perseus since the end of Clash of the Titans?
It's 10 years on. You know, the first one, I believe, though, was just a conduit for the action. That's what I felt. I personally felt I dropped the ball a bit with the character. So this one, I kind of, by making him a dad, by making it 10 years down the track, I got the opportunity to take who that man would be at that time and flesh out kind of a character that is like a rusty gunslinger. He hasn't picked up his sword in 10 years. He's more nurturing to his family, and his responsibilities are not to himself anymore, but to something, you know, greater.
And what elements from the first film did you think you could improve?
Well, massive spectacle and action was something I loved in the first movie, and the cast they put together, the producers and Louis, was exceptional. Sam Worthington, Liam Neeson, Ray Fiennes, an exceptional cast. And I think the obvious thing to improve upon was the 3D, which was tacked on at the end of the first movie. We knew this was going to be 3D from the start, so we conceived the movie, shot the movie, edited the movie with 3D in mind. Another thing I thought we could, do more of is see more of Liam and Rafe. Like, those guys are fantastic, and just really see more of their relationship on screen.
How did you approach the performance this time round?
Changed everything. He's a wrecking ball in the first one. Nothing's going to stop him, and it's all selfish, kind of aggressive kind of tact. Whereas this one, it is what happens 10 years later. What does it being a hero actually entail? And I looked at movies like Die Hard, where you got John McClane, and movies I loved like Lethal Weapon, Mad Max, where Mel, they go in, they're a bit out of their depth, a bit out of their comfort zone, they get beat up all the time, and they still keep going for their family. That's it, and John McClane's still fighting for his wife. In this, I'm still fighting for my father, fighting for my son, and it's a different type of hero to the chiseled six-pack, the great choreography of that we've seen before in movies like this.
And you mentioned John McClane. He's obviously famous for his Yippee-ki-yay
one
line. And here, I've noticed Perseus has a few one-liners.
Yeah, a couple of them are good. I think we added in a bit more humour. I think those movies, that I grew up on, those 80s kind of movies, they're quite funny. Lethal Weapon 2 is hilarious, man. But it's, even though it's kind of real heightened stakes, you can still have a bit of lightness.
You're almost channeling a bit of a Mel Gibson mullet,
Well, look, I love Mel. I think Mel was the premier, one of the premier action stars there was. So I don't mind that at all.
What was the toughest sequence for you to film, technically or physically?
I'd say one of them was in the Labyrinth, because you've got a guy dressed as a 8-foot tall Minotaur, all slippery, and he is a big boy, and I wanted the fight to be like a UFC fight crossed with aliens, where you never saw the dude, but you saw me catch a whipping. So, and he was big, and he'd pick me up and smash me down, and but that's how we designed it. That's what I wanted it to be. Is every time you see me get hurt, an audience should wince.
Now, the recent financial failure of John Carter must have sent huge shockwaves throughout the industry. How has it affected you and your outlook on creating, big budget epics?
Listen, there's two. You had John Carter, and then 2 weeks later you had The Hunger Games, which was the third most successful opening ever. So it's hard. I mean, you never know. It's what William Goldman famously said: nobody knows anything. You just do your best to make the best movie you can, to make what you're passionate about, and you hope it finds an audience. Once it leaves your hands as a filmmaker, you hope it has a life. It's out of your hands, though.